Hi there, my name's Henry. I'm one of the property consultants here at Knight Knox, and I'm joined today by Suze, our head of after sales. And today we're going to be having a chat about the buy-to-let journey. So we kind of have two very different roles here at Knight Knox, don't we? So
We do.
kind of at the sharp end of the customers, if you like, and the clients and the investors in terms of the initial contact, figuring out what they want and what might be the right kind of fit for them in terms of an investment side of things. Mm-hmm. And you are head of the also sharp end, I'd say, with the clients, but I
was going to say.
Yeah.
Also at the sharp end.
in more of a, once they kind of, through the initial process, reserved. Well, I mean, you feel free to explain what your role here.
Okay. Well, firstly, I've been here 14 years now. So I've seen many changes at Knight Knox. Mm-hmm. Lots of different countries we've sold in, lots of different developments we've sold in, lots of different developers. And I've been here for pretty much all of it. So I think I probably know the process, the solicitors, and many of our lovely clients as well. So,
Part of the furniture now, aren't you, really?
Absolutely part of furniture, yes. Unemployable anywhere else, I would say.
I'm not sure about that. I'm sure someone would take you. So I guess it's kind of what we were going to cover in this particular episode is why people start a buy-to-let journey, the different reasons people invest, which we're both very aware of. Mm-hmm. And, I think you probably have some really good conversations as well as I do in terms of why clients are doing it, their background in it, and you also get to learn a lot about, if not more, sometimes about our clients and why they're investing, which is quite nice, isn't it?
They do tend to share a lot.
Life
stories.
Sometimes too much.
Well, you become very close to these clients. We're very good at what we do here, and we've developed, particularly the after sales department, we've developed it to the point of, it being quite slick over the years. We've recruited a really good panel of solicitors that obviously act for our clients. They're all independent. We see ourselves as market leaders in sales progression.
Absolutely,
so our relationships with clients, I think, are some of the best you can have, and the clients that come back and they buy again and again and again are considered friends really at this point, because you know them, you speak about the families, and you know why they're buying because they want an income in their retirement, or they're buying because they want to pass something on to the families and the children. So and I think the point you raised there is that we do offer that kind of comprehensive service. It's not just a case of a one-off service in terms of, you purchase a property, you get your investment, and you never hear from us again. We are very close to our clients, and whether it be someone who's bought 1 or 100 properties, we sometimes... We do, and we make a point of saying that when people have completed on a property. I always make a point of saying, we aren't going anywhere.
We're still here.
And I'm still getting, I'm still getting emails from clients who bought something maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
Well, you're certainly not going anywhere because you're unemployable anywhere else, aren't you?
Absolutely.
So, it's quite nice for clients to know that we do offer that from the beginning. Whether it's your first time investment or whether you've bought loads and you've got a large portfolio, through to the after-sales process, which you and your lovely team head, through to completion, and then post-completion, whatever they need, if they've got any issues or if they've got any queries post-completion, we're always here for that as well. So, I think we do have quite a strong presence in our customer service within the property market as well, which is nice.
And always striving to improve. We love customer reviews. Mm-hmm. There's quite a large push to try and get as many nice reviews as possible. So, we're always striving to be better, to try and make sure everybody's as happy as they can be. We're very close to the developers and their teams. So if anything needs sorting, resolving, our relationships with those are really good as well. So, you'd hope that we can get things sorted out.
Resolve most things, can't we?
Yeah, there are always issues. I mean, it's, this is life, isn't it? Nothing's absolutely perfect, but we hope we'll be there to help people and, sort out any problems or anything that they just need help with. It's quite a confusing process buying a property. You've bought property, so, it's not easy, is it?
Yeah.
So, and quite a lot of the terminology the solicitors use is quite confusing, and, they talk about searches, they talk about, indemnity policies, all sorts of things like this. So
it's daunting, isn't it?
It is daunting.
It can be very daunting, especially if it is your first time. And I think many people start their buy-to-let journey for many different reasons, but regardless of what the reason is, it can still be a very scary process. Lots of these people are investing hard-earned cash, sometimes life savings, and
often,
and it's a big thing. It is a big thing, whether it's 10 grand or £1 million. It's still a big thing for everybody involved. So
it's a good point. That I think a lot of our clients think that we only sell to millionaire clients that they've got so much money that let's just buy a few of these. Our clients aren't like that at all. We have a lot of clients who just afford one. They just afford one, and they're as important to us as the people who do buy 5 or 10 units. We've also got overseas clients as well, as you know, who quite often they don't know the process in the UK. They don't understand that. They
don't even come over. Some of them haven't even been to the country.
But I think the reason they buy in the UK is because the conveyancing laws are so good here that they are very protected. We have a good land registry, all of that sort of thing. So that's why they buy. But helping the overseas clients through the process can be quite challenging sometimes as well.
Yeah, and that's and that's what you and your team are there for, aren't they? Because it's all right us, talking to and the other consultants, talking to them about the properties and the figures and the returns and what they're going to get, but we're not experts also in that side of things. And I think that is such a big part of it, in that it takes a lot for clients, if they're a first-time buyer, it takes a lot for clients to trust us to just make the right choice in terms of what they're going to buy.
Yeah.
But then actually going ahead and buying it, going through that legal process, parting with that hard-earned cash, almost sometimes requires somebody else to hold the hand, and obviously hence why. Yeah,
and there are lots of cultural things.
Yeah.
We have clients who can't take out mortgages, for example, or we have clients who need to use a currency.
Yeah, like an exchange.
Foreign exchange company, to send the money over, or they might have difficulty having an address in their country. There's all sorts of things. And because we've dealt with clients from many, many countries now, we're quite experienced in knowing the pitfalls that might come up.
Yeah, all corners of the world, all corners. And some people, they can't do it. Some people, unfortunately, they can't, for whatever reason, invest into the UK. But we're very honest and upfront about that at the start of the process, and not kind of dragging people along. If we know it's a no-go and it's a non-starter, we're not here to waste anybody's time. I think that initial call with myself or one of the other consultants is the process of figuring out what's going to work best for you. They may have an idea of what they want. It might be the complete opposite of what they need. And that's kind of where we come into play at the start of that process. And we've obviously got lots of options for clients, whether it be in the residential sector, the student sector, which has always been, as you know, you've been in longer than myself, that was always the bread and butter of Knight Knox. Whether it's off plan, whether it's completed. More recently, the assisted living side of things are very popular.
Yeah,
the 25-year contracts.
Massively so.
Yeah.
We've done so many assisted living projects now. Very familiar now with the way that the legal process works.
Yeah.
The panel of solicitors that we use are now experienced with the assisted living, the 25-year lease. It's quite and the option agreement, obviously the buyback agreement. But that's the majority of after sales now is dealing with the assisted living properties.
Yeah, and I'd say it's a very streamlined process, isn't it, with them?
Yes.
Because most of them are completed and tenanted.
Mm-hmm.
You pay a reservation deposit. You go through the after-sales process, welcome on board by yourself, and then you're straight into legals. And it takes, 4 weeks maybe?
Yep.
And
4 weeks.
Exchange the money, complete the contracts, exchange contracts, and you're done. And I don't think clients sometimes realise it can be that easy and quick to get the ball rolling with something.
We can do it in a week.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
have
with
done,
with
haven't we?
with a client who's keen to complete, keen to start earning rental income.
Yeah.
We can do it in a week, but generally that's not the case. But my team, in particular Michelle, who works in my team, she's done the role of a conveyancer, so she has a really good legal insight. So if clients are asking specifically about clauses in contracts or terms,
she does know.
Yeah, she can really help with that. And we have to make sure that clients absolutely understand what they're buying, absolutely understand what they're signing up for, before they complete. So yeah,
and I think that extra layer of, like you mentioned, Michelle having that expertise and knowledge, with the more kind of like the assisted living properties, the contracts are slightly different to your traditional vanilla buy-to-let. And I think when you get a lot of clients who have potentially bought properties previously, they've used their own solicitors, and they go, I'll use my own solicitor. And the contracts are very different. And understanding the nuances of that 25-year rental contract is different.
Yes.
And having somebody who understands it, who has been through the process hundreds of times now, just on hand to point you in the right direction is invaluable, I think.
Yeah, and using our panel of solicitors is also invaluable. A lot of people think that we receive referral fees or we have any kickbacks from any of them. We never have, and we never will for any solicitors firms, because we need those firms to remain independent, and we need those firms to act for the clients. I've spent a long time building the panel of solicitors up to have a really, really strong team, and also to make sure that clients have a choice which solicitor they can use, make sure the solicitor's got capacity, but also make sure that the solicitor knows the developments that we're selling and has raised all their inquiries and knows exactly what they're doing. So they're slick organisations, but equally they're human beings who, if the clients need to speak to them and need calls, they will speak to them. They'll all pick the phone up and they'll all have a conversation with clients.
And they're always on hand, aren't they?
Absolutely, really good. Really nice people to deal with. We have... It's all about relationships, this job, isn't it? And our solicitors are nice people to deal with.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I suppose looping back to what we kind of offer clients and what we have here at Knight Knox is we've got a large portfolio within the residential sector, which we always have done.
Yeah.
And we always will do. Central Manchester properties, some really prime developments now, which are popping up left, right and centre.
And there'll always be a market for residential, for people who want to buy good quality residential stock, albeit with the rental income and the projected yields being slightly lower. There'll always be that element of the market that says, actually, I want city centre Manchester, I want a high spec, I want all the bells and whistles on it, I want a pool, I want a concierge, I want everything. So we will always have that level of stock in our portfolio.
And you can't go far wrong with that type of investment. Yes, you mentioned, the yield is slightly lower than maybe some of our other opportunities. You might get 4, 5, 6%. But the capital growth in Manchester now is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Whether you're buying something 2 years off plan or you're buying something that's just completed, if you hold on to that for 2, 3, 10 years, whatever, you can't go far wrong with that.
And that's what I've seen, because I've been here so long. I've seen some of the, when we started selling residential stock, let's say, 10, 12 years ago, we used to sit there and we used to say, blimey, 100,000 for a 2-bed apartment, and we'd be like, that's a lot of money, that's a really lot of money. And then now you're thinking, blimey.
You pay 600 grand for a decent 2-bed.
Absolutely. Now you think, crikey, with hindsight, look what it was and look where it is now. And it's not, yes, there are fluctuations and it goes up and it goes back down, but the trajectory,
that's the one,
is
is on the up. Well, and that also ties into lots of people. I speak to lots of people, first-time investors, and they think, I'll just wait. I'll wait for the market to dip, or I'll wait for something. There's always a bad time or a reason to not invest into property. But like you say, give a 10-year period. If someone just dived in and went for it 10 years ago, they'd be laughing right now.
It's bricks and mortar, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've a few clients at the moment saying, "Oh, what do you think is going to happen in the budget? What's going to happen? What is going to be the impact?" But our advice is just keep going. Your bricks and mortar.
Yeah. You'll see it through.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And people go, like we were saying, you can buy a 2-bed for 500 grand now, and people go, it's just ludicrous. But if you buy it now, in 10 years' time, it'll be £1 million. Yeah. And it may dip, it may fluctuate, but if you're buying central Manchester, you're buying in these hotspots, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't go down. It doesn't go down.
No.
And I think people do know that, but I think for a first-time investor, it's scary, and
it is. And I think the expertise that we've got here, I see our role as a property consultant as it's our job to try and find out how we can satisfy the needs of our investors, how our investors want to invest their well-earned funds into something that's going to be reliable. It's going to grow in capital growth, and also it's going to give them an income in the most secure way that we can. And I think that our role is to try and find the stock to be able to satisfy that need. Now, years ago it was residential, it was traditional student properties, and that we're still doing the residential and the traditional student properties, but now also obviously with the assisted living opportunity arose, and that is the best thing that we can offer for those people's needs at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's especially with yields, 10% as a minimum is nothing to turn your nose up. But again, that is not for everybody. There are some limitations whereby you have to have the cash. You can't mortgage them. Yeah. Not everybody's got 150, 200 grand lying around. I certainly don't. And if people want to some people, even though interest rates are high, still want to mortgage properties. Yeah. They're not too bothered about a 10% net yield. They just know if they can, if I can hold on to this, I can pull some equity out of it, and so it's finding.
But that's your role, isn't it? That's your role in speaking to the clients and finding out exactly what it is they want to get out of it.
And sometimes they don't know.
No.
And sometimes they don't know. And I think the security is, it's funny. Lots of people have invested into kind of stocks and shares and things like that. An asset that's not tangible, depending on which stocks and shares you invest into. Some have performed very well. S&P 500 will always do well over decades if you keep it. But I think sometimes people are always quite nervous to invest into property, and I always go, well, have you got stocks and shares, and do you know where that company is in the world, or where their headquarters are in the world, and what they actually do? People, the majority of people are clueless about the stocks and shares they've invested into, but a little bit nervous about investing into a different location where the property is, even though it's fully managed for you and things like that. And it's educating people on. And
also inviting them to come and see it. The clients can come in. Clients can come and see us. They can come and meet us here in the offices. On occasion, I've been out to see clients who live locally. I have no issue with that, and I love meeting clients. You've been around for
Sunday dinners.
I would love to go around for Sunday dinners with some of our clients. Local clients, I'll gladly go and see them, sit down, talk to them about the paperwork, and it gives them so much more confidence seeing a face and coming into the office, going to see the properties, having a viewing. Yeah, absolutely, it's invaluable, I think, to us.
And when we can, we do go see clients. We do have a large portion of clients that are overseas that we can't hop on a plane and go see, but when we can, you certainly do. I know you do, and we'll have video calls, and if they want to pop into the office, we're always very welcoming.
I met a client when I went on a holiday to Malta.
Did you?
Yeah.
What, did you arrange it? Oh, you bumped into him?
No, we arranged it. No, I met her and we had a really nice drink, all three, and really nice chat about things. So I mean, we didn't talk much business, but it was just about, you know, she's bought quite a few properties from us. I was coming out to Malta, so I said, right, well, let's meet up and have a, you know, glass of wine. So it was lovely.
And it's little things like that. I mean, flying to Malta to see is maybe not a little thing, but just the little.
I was there anyway.
Yeah. Right. Well,
I was saying how long I've been here. Obviously, I've been here 14 years now. And one of the first student properties we started selling was in Bolton. It was the Pack Horse in Bolton. It feels like a million years ago now. And what we saw with that one was that it was a popular area. There was lots of demand for student properties in that particular area, or there was a real deficit. And this particular development sold really, really well and is still letting really, really well. And I think we are still selling student properties, but we are reacting to the needs of particularly the universities. So if you have a university in particular, Newcastle, for example, my daughter's just gone to Newcastle University. So, you know, I know as a parent how difficult it was to try and find some really good quality student accommodation for my daughter. Gone are the days where students will accept mouldy, rat-infested, nasty accommodation with no bathroom. You know, now the students of nowadays are wanting a very nice ensuite room, clean, new, well-equipped kitchen, gym, you know, communal areas, that kind of thing.
Everything now.
Absolutely,
and
that's why we are offering now in the student sector is very much that kind of accommodation. And we are also reacting to the needs. You know, we have student accommodation in Stoke and Nottingham.
Huddersfield.
And Huddersfield. So, you know, and those are the areas where we know the deficits are there. So we know that the rents will be good, and we know that, you know, that they're a good investment opportunity.
Yeah, and you're right that the landscape has changed so much in the last few years, and I don't think lots of people aren't really aware of it. And in terms of investors, just how high quality these developments are. They're like little hotels, some of them, you know, cinema rooms and games rooms.
Absolutely.
And, you know, they've got things that 5 years ago, you know, maybe even shorter, you wouldn't dream of having, or you would dream of having, but you couldn't find it. And
as a parent, I know how much I'm spending on my daughter's student accommodation. So I know it's a good income stream.
There. Yeah, exactly.
The return is definitely there. Yeah.
Well, you can get 10% net on student properties now and invest a much smaller amount of capital. You know, it's always, I think that's the attractive thing about student properties sometimes is not everyone has 200 grand, but they might have 80. Yeah. And they don't want to get a mortgage out because interest rates might be too high, or they might be coming to retirement and they don't want another mortgage, whatever the reason. 80 grand put into a nice student property in a nice area within a nice development next to a thriving university. You can't go far wrong with that.
And it's all about the yield.
Exactly. Yeah. And 8, 9, 10% net is a good return. It certainly beats what you're going to get in the bank anyway. Yeah. And
it's a very hands-free investment as well, isn't it? You don't have to get involved if the student's broken the shower or whatever. You know, you've not got to get involved in anything. So you just sit there and enjoy the rental returns.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, they come with rental guarantees. I mean, we've seen on the high end, we've seen 10-year rental guarantees. You know, you can get rolling annual rental guarantees, which get reviewed, typically anywhere between 3 and 5 years. You'd find a rental guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be completing on a large student development in Manchester, X1 Cheltenham Place.
We will, which is exciting.
In a couple of months, and the rental assurance on those, they were a long time. You know,
10 years. That 10 one years. Was 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that will be exciting. And again, we're seeing the videos and some of the completed units now, and they're very nice apartments. You know,
absolutely.
The specification of some of like the ensuite rooms or whether they're studios are nicer than some one beds that young working professionals would live in.
Absolutely. They're like hotel rooms.
Lucky.
Yeah.
They are. The students are lucky. They're very
And as an
lucky.
after-sales department, although, we're all about helping the clients, getting them through to exchange, because obviously that's what we're all about. But as an after-sales department, we will help all of the clients with the completions. We'll inform them of, the completion dates. We'll be supplying drone footage, all the construction updates. So that's also part of my department, along with my colleague Naomi. And at completion, we'll be helping people through that process as well, which is actually quite simple, but yeah.
And also quite exciting, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
When some people have waited 2, 3, sometimes longer, 4 years, if they've bought really far off plan for this one property to complete. And I think that's probably quite a nice process to go, your final payment's due and it's yours, almost hand over the keys. Start earning. I think that's probably quite a nice step in the process to be part of, I can imagine. So once a client has kind of committed to the purchase in terms of paid the deposit, and then they're about to go through the after sales process, what are the kind of main questions that they ask you, just out of curiosity for myself as well? Yeah,
we generally do get a theme of questions. Initial questions are, why am I being asked to supply things like my bank statements, my ID? I think sometimes, particularly some of the overseas clients, find some of the questions quite intrusive. But I think we have to go back to them and say, the reason you're buying a property in the UK is because of the security, because of the laws in the UK, and because it's a very safe place to buy. So the result of that is that you do have to give evidence to your solicitor of, where you've accumulated the funds, how you're buying it, are you a limited company, are you personal, joint purchase, whatever it is. So, that's often a question, how many bank statements do I need to provide, that kind of thing, which obviously we can help with. And then as you proceed through the process, because what will happen first of all is the solicitors will send out client care documentation to our clients. This doesn't come via us. This is the communication goes from the solicitor to the client, because that relationship is that's what the client is paying for. Is that advice. So the initial documents are the client care documents, and that is about proving your ID, proving your funds, anything else that the solicitor asks.
Proving you're real. Proving
you're real, yeah, absolutely. And then what happens in the background is the solicitor will receive the contract papers from the seller side of solicitors. They will then raise inquiries and produce a report for the clients. Okay. And quite often at that time, the clients will ring us. I mean, we'll have been in touch with them all the way through the process anyway. The client will ring us saying, what does this mean? What does this term mean? The legal terms are really, really quite archaic in some cases. What does that actually mean? So, we have to explain things in plain English, and there are no such things as a stupid question. We've been asked all of the
everything you can imagine.
The crazy questions, Suzanne, can a dog live in the apartment? Do I get a garden? But all sorts of things. Anyway, so we do get asked, do I need searches, for example? Will I need to pay for searches? We quite often get asked how to, can we explain the solicitor's bill? Why am I being charged for, bank transfers, that sort of thing? So, lots and lots of questions.
And it is quite a complex and daunting process, like I mentioned earlier, not to labour the point, but I've read through some of the draft contracts and things like that. It's a minefield. Some of them, some of the terminology and it's, if you're not a solicitor or you haven't been accustomed to that terminology like yourself for many years, I'd be clueless. I'd be absolutely clueless.
Absolutely, and that's why we rely on a professional, qualified solicitor who's a member of the relevant regulatory authority to advise our clients, which is why we have to, as sales progression team, we have to sit on the outside of that. Yes, we can help the clients and answer their questions, but ultimately, the solicitor is giving them the advice, and that's who they have to listen to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So in terms of, where the market is at the moment and where it's kind of going, I think the market is strong at the moment, contrary to popular belief probably. There's a lot of talk about the new budget and things like that. I think the interest rates have been quite high. I know the interest rates have been quite high for some people. So they've maybe steered away from committing to something and investing. I think we are going to see that drop slightly over the coming months, hopefully, and certainly over the next 12 months. And I think people will pick up and start, whether they're buying with a mortgage, and kind of revisit that avenue. And the properties will always be there for them to purchase. You know, there's no panic in that sense. Student market will always thrive. You know, there's never going to be
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Lack of demand. If anything, there's a lack of supply.
Of supply, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's always a safe bet.
Yeah.
And the assisted living properties at the moment is, I'd say, probably what 8 out of 10 clients are buying. So that's certainly not going anywhere, and definitely something to consider if you do have the funds available and are looking for a good return.
And people can see the success of these now.
Yeah.
People can see, you know, I mean, we have repeat buyers, but people who are watching the stock that we sell and, you know, the returns that people are enjoying.
Yeah.
We've got proven success in these areas
it's a proven
now.
model now,
Absolutely proven model,
And I think it's quite nice that, I mean, we've sold them for several years, but we previously just used to sell them as freehold blocks to our higher net worth clients.
Yeah.
And because of that, not everybody, or the general public or your more day-to-day investor, weren't aware of the model. So they didn't have access to it. And now, having sold them as individual apartments for the last kind of 18 months, having sold, I don't know, 65 million quid's worth in the last 12 months or something ludicrous.
Yeah.
People are very aware of it now. People have been earning for that full time. They're very happy. I haven't spoken to a single client who's bought an assisted living property since we started selling them that's unhappy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same, because I get the sharp end of perhaps a client's not giving us their bank details, or perhaps for some strange reason a bank payment's been late. You know, I would get all of those, and anything like that is resolved within the hour. Anything like that, and they're very, very few and far between. So yeah, we don't hear from people, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. If anybody has any questions or they'd like to contact us, get in touch, come into the office, meet us. We, as I said earlier, love meeting clients. So please do get in touch. Thanks.